Hey beauty, it's Ker-Leen. Thank you for tuning back into my channel. Today I will be sharing my thoughts on a new fragrance to my personal perfume collection. I love doing fragrance talk on this channel, and now that we are experiencing a tiny bit of colder weather in Florida, I have just really been into gourmands, and I've really been into sweet fragrances, edible smelling fragrances, you name it. And by the title of this video, you already know I'll be talking about Jany from Sora Dora. So if you're interested in hearing my thoughts, then please keep watching. Hey friend, welcome back to the channel. I'm so grateful you took time out of your day to click on this video and hang out with me. To those of you who are new over here on this channel, I make videos on lifestyle, luxury, I do review videos, and I also sprinkle in my motherhood journey in my monthly vlogs. So if any of those things sound interesting to you, then I think you will love it here. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and also be sure to turn on that notification bell so you know exactly when my videos drop. All right, let's get into it. I have already been testing this fragrance out. This is the fragrance right here, and this is unopened because with my purchase, they gave me a 2 ml sample, and they also gave me a couple of other samples. I have a sample of mallow, which I'll share a little bit of my thoughts on that towards the end of this video. And also they gave me something else that I gave to my husband because it was clearly a masculine fragrance. So anyways, let's go ahead and open this up. Now, the reason why I hadn't opened this up is because I wasn't sure that I was going to be keeping this fragrance. So when I saw the 2 ml, I was excited because I knew that this was my chance to really test this out without making the commitment as of yet. So let's go ahead and get into my thoughts, but first let's unbox this beauty. So this is the box it comes in. You can't really see, oh yes you can. You can see that it says Sora Dora. It's engraved on here, but it's almost like a watermark of sorts. And then the SD at the top is the same as well. This is a 50 ml bottle. You can probably already tell that I've decided to keep this and add this to my collection because I am opening up this packaging. So give me a sec. Yeah, we're opening her up, so we're definitely keeping her. So yeah, here it is. Okay, so it looks like they give a microfiber cloth. That's nice. It has the SD for Sora Dora on it. And then they also give a note card. You can't see, but it's like the notes are inscribed on here, so I can feel them. And then here is the bottle. Very nice presentation. I love the marble looking top. And the juice is a beautiful yellow juice, and I love that as well. I'm not sure if y'all can see that, but the bottle is frosted. It's frosted all around. The note card is also in French, which I thought was very nice. This is a French brand, and y'all, the shipping on this was so fast. It literally came in like 3 days all the way from France. So I truly loved the customer experience. They sent over those 3 samples along with the fragrance. And yeah, I love that this is in French. Let's get into the notes. This fragrance's notes are not listed like top, middle, and base. Instead, they're all together. And I will say that I truly get almost all of those notes, or several of those notes, in the first few hours of wear. We have cinnamon, we have almond, puff pastry, there's caramel in here, baked apple pie, there's vanilla in here, some nutty notes in here, osmanthus, white musk, we have peach in here, plum, and then apricot. Also, this has osmanthus absolute. I don't really get that osmanthus very much. And then this also has white musks and ambergris. That may actually be why this fragrance is a little bit powdery and doesn't get too cloying. It's probably from that ambergris and those white musks. To give you an idea of what this fragrance smells like, and I have not sprayed the actual bottle yet. I was testing out the 2 ml, so let's go ahead and spray that. This is going to be my scent of the day. We're doing some Christmassy things today, hence the red lip. So let me go ahead and spray this on. It will be my scent of the day. Oh, this is strong, y'all. It's strong. It has really, really good projection and sillage the first few hours. It's really, really nice. So Jany it's a fragrance that has similar notes and a similar note structure to Angel Share. This is not a dupe for Angel Share. It's not the same fragrance. I don't want you to get that impression. The reason why I'm bringing up Angel Share is to give you an idea of the family that this fragrance sits in. So this is one of those fragrances. When I first spray this, I get that blast of cinnamon. It is so cinnamon heavy at the top. The cinnamon begins to die down, and then you start to get that apple pie, that puff pastry. I even get some of that fruitiness, that plum, the apricot, and the peach. I do get that in the initial spray of this. And then for me, the cinnamon starts to die down a bit, and then it starts to get very sweet. The caramel in here, that sticky sweetness starts to come through. The baked apple pie goodness starts to come through. And then on the dry down, the deep, deep dry down, so hours later, your skin just smells like a very sweet vanillic caramel. That's how I would sum up the way this performed, the way the notes wore on my skin. On the clothes, this is quite long lasting. I tested this and I got about like 6 hours on my clothes. On the skin, after the 3-hour mark, this begins to wear closer to the skin. In my opinion, this has above moderate projection and sillage the first few hours. So it projects very loudly and it has beautiful sillage. People will smell you walking by. So far, that has been my experience with it. But again, I was only using the 2 ml spray bottle, which although it was a spray bottle, still is restrictive because I was trying to use enough to test it for several days. It wasn't like I just went ham and sprayed myself like I would if I had a bottle, because I was trying to make it last for a few days. So this does have a tiny bit of powderiness to it as well. And I think that is really, really nice because this fragrance doesn't get overly cloying or dense. Although it's very beastly in the opening and during the first 3 hours, it doesn't remain that way throughout the wear. When you first spray this on, it's really heavy on the cinnamon. So if you don't like the note of cinnamon, you will not like this. This smells like an apple pie filling that has a really generous dose of cinnamon. So if that's not your thing, you will not like this. Now, in terms of this being a gourmand, this is definitely a gourmand fragrance. But I feel like this is not a gourmand that is very cloying or dense or overly sweet. It's not overly sweet at all. It is the perfect gourmand for those people that they like a gourmand essence, but they don't want to smell like food. It's not overly literal. I think this is just really beautifully done, and I'm happy to have it in my collection. So again, to put you in the mind of what this smells like, imagine a less sweet, more cinnamon heavy Angel Share without the presence of that, was it cognac or rum? So there's no alcohol note in here, and also without the presence of a wood. So just imagine Angel Share minus the wood, minus the alcohol, and then also this is less sweet. You also have the addition of those like imaginary notes like apple pie and puff pastry, and then you have beautiful sweet fruits like plum, apricot, and peach in here. I really love this, y'all. I really, really love this. Another thing I wanted to note is that if you're like me and you are fairly new to niche fragrances, I've purchased niche fragrances here and there in the past, but I would say that this year is the year that I purchased the most niche fragrances. And if you're fairly new to niche like myself, it's very, very, very important to spray the fragrance, let oxygen into the bottle, let it sit, and then come back to it before even making an initial judgment call on the fragrance. We don't get to smell a lot of these niche fragrances unless we purchase samples. So many of my niche fragrance buys have been blind buys. And I realize that in that I have to let the fragrance sit, let it do its thing, and then come back to it and see how I feel about it. So that's what happened with this. Initially, I was like, man, I really, really love the notes in here, but I felt like that cinnamon was just super overwhelming when I first sprayed this, and it got less and less overwhelming the longer I wore the sample. And by the time my sample size was done, I knew that I wanted to keep this in my collection. Like that was my experience. So to give you an idea of the vibes, Jany smells like a very sweet and very heavily spiced apple pie with puff pastry crust would taste. Like if I were having an apple pie or a puff pastry with an apple stuffing. The apples are baked, they are super sweet. There's a heavy dose of cinnamon in the mix. They've been baking, and so you have that syrup dripping off of the apples from just them baking. They're sitting in all of their syrupy baked goodness. You sprinkle on some cinnamon and maybe even some sugar in there, some brown sugar, and you maybe even drizzle a little bit of caramel syrup on top of the puff pastry. Like that's how I would describe this scent. Except this also maintains a bit of perfuminess. That's not a word, but we're gonna go with it. It maintains a little bit of perfuminess, okay? So it's not an overly gourmand scent to the point where you smell like food all day. However, this is very realistic in the notes. I am super happy with my purchase. This is a fragrance that it was a like for me at first, but it has now become a love. So those are my thoughts on Jany, or Jany, however you want to say that. And then they also provided me a sample size. By the way, these are extraits de parfums, meaning that they are the highest concentration, I think. Definitely higher than an eau de parfum. So you're going to get a really nice percentage of oil in here, fragrance, which I love. To me, this feels like a beast mode fragrance the first few hours. But I'm not exactly sure if that's what you would describe as beast mode. You fragrance connoisseurs out there, let me know. Does beast mode mean that you get the same intensity all day long, or does beast mode mean it's super intense the first few hours? Because for me, this is beast mode because it's super intense the first few hours, and then by the 6-hour mark, it's like a nice scent bubble. So let me know in the comments. Anyway, they gave me a sample of mallow. And mallow, I would say, is in the family of Love Don't Be Shy. It's also similar to Oriana, but what I would say about this one is that performance-wise, it beats those out of the water. So if you love a good marshmallow, fruity marshmallow type fragrance, try Sora Dora's Mallow, because I feel like the performance on this is crazy. And I've tried the other two fragrances before. This, the performance on here, it just lasts so long. It didn't come off until I had showered. And even after scrubbing my skin with a washcloth, this was still on my skin after I got out of the shower. So this is a really nice performer as far as long lasting. And also projection, huge projection. So I would say if you're in the market for like a marshmallow note type fragrance, try this one. Definitely if you're trying to decide between Love Don't Be Shy and Oriana, I would say go with this one. All right, beauties, so those are my thoughts on the newest addition to my collection, Jany by Sora Dora. I'm really enjoying this fragrance. In the comments below, let me know, will you be trying this, or are you going to pass on this? Also, if you have other fragrances similar to this, let me know what your experience has been with those types of scents as well. So yes, it was a like for me at first, but it is now a love. A love, an absolute love. I love this fragrance. It is so nice. And I'm realizing that, again, with niche perfumes, I have to spray them, let them sit, because the initial impression is usually going to be different from days later. All right, friend, that wraps up my review of Jany by Sora Dora. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, then don't forget to give it a like on your way out, because that really helps my channel. Also, if you enjoy these kinds of videos, I make fragrance content quite often on this channel, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, join the family, and turn on those notifications so you never miss another video. Before you click off today, I just want to remind you to keep letting your light shine, keep being your unique and beautiful self. I will be over here doing the exact same thing. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one very soon. Bye.